keep doing this. I think it's beneath me. The truth was put out there. You hear my side and that person's side. And here we are having to address it yet again.
Jackie Christie and her daughter Chantel have finally been sentenced after a long and chaotic legal fight. What started as whispers and gossip has now turned into a harsh reality. They are both headed to prison. And this isn't just some warning or community service, it's serious. Jackie has been exposed for a much darker side of her life than what fans ever saw on television, and Chantel was tangled right in the middle of it all. Both mother and daughter were found guilty of financial crimes that had been quietly building up over the years until the truth finally caught up to them. It makes people wonder, how did it all get here? How did someone who once looked like she had everything suddenly trade fame and glamour for courtrooms and sentencing hearings? How did reality TV's boldest personality go from being dressed in designer gowns to standing in front of a judge wearing prison uniforms? To understand that, you have to go back to the beginning, when Jackie Christie was still riding the wave of fame.
I was doing nothing but telling the truth. I heard her say it, and I repeated it. I'm grown, and I do what I want. You know who I am. I'm Jackie Christie. That ain't gonna change.
Jackie wasn't just another cast member on Basketball Wives. She was the star. From the moment she stepped into the spotlight on VH1, she made sure nobody could look away from her. She thrived on attention, whether it came from arguments that blew up at the dinner table or from extravagant events she put together just to outshine everyone else. Jackie built her entire brand on being dramatic, loud, and bold, and the fans loved every second of it. She knew exactly what the cameras wanted, and she gave it to them. With Doug Christie, a former NBA player always standing proudly beside her, Jackie presented herself as someone who had it all: wealth, stability, long-term success, and the perfect family. She leaned into this image with everything she had. She often bragged about running businesses, investing in big opportunities, and showing other women how to build empires. On top of that, she flaunted her luxury lifestyle as proof that she had figured it all out. Right next to her was her daughter, Chantel Christie. Jackie treated her as a reflection of herself. Chantel was polished, fashionable, and gave off the vibe of a young influencer who had her future lined up. Jackie called her the mini-me and often promoted her projects as if the two of them were running a family dynasty together.
You're not on my level.
I'm a crack addict because I'm small and you try to get lipo 80 times to look like me. Okay, big ears.
You're right, but you better keep your ass in that seat, tramp. That's what you better do. You're right, Dumbo ears. Yeah, I got a lot of husbands about these ears, bitch. Get a husband. That 48-year-old been working, bitch. You right.
Retire.
Chantel didn't appear much on reality television, but she gave Jackie credibility. She seemed like the next generation of success, ready to step into her mother's shoes. To the outside world, it looked like a mother and daughter rising together, building their legacies side by side. Their social media pages showed off selfies, luxury vacations, red carpet appearances, and matching designer outfits. Fans saw the image of a close family who had figured out how to win in life. But behind all those carefully posed pictures and expensive trips, there were cracks forming. People began to notice that Jackie's big claims about investments and business deals didn't have much proof. She would talk about launching projects, but they rarely went anywhere. Chantel was the same. She announced ventures in beauty, fashion, and entrepreneurship, but none of them stayed around long enough to build momentum. And yet, the money never seemed to stop. Jackie and her daughter kept living larger and larger, showing off more wealth than what anyone could explain. That's when the whispers started. Fans and bloggers wondered, how was Jackie affording all of this? VH1 paychecks were good, but they weren't nearly enough to cover private jets, luxury homes, designer closets, and constant traveling. Jackie wasn't starring in blockbuster films, she wasn't running million-dollar companies, and Chantel wasn't an influencer big enough to fund the lifestyle she showed off. People started asking real questions. And soon, the answers came. Everything changed when an anonymous whistleblower stepped forward. This wasn't just speculation. This person came with evidence. There were financial records, audio recordings, and detailed documents that pointed to a massive fraud operation. What looked like a glamorous life was actually being fueled by fake businesses, stolen identities, and government money that was never theirs to begin with. The authorities didn't waste any time. The IRS and federal investigators quietly began following the money trail. They tracked accounts tied to both Jackie and Chantel, and the red flags popped up everywhere. There were strange money transfers, accounts moving funds back and forth, and companies that existed only on paper.
It's disgusting. It makes me sick.
She said a lot of things that actually hurt my feelings as a mom.
Chantel's so-called businesses were revealed as shells. They didn't pay taxes, didn't have employees, and didn't actually sell anything, yet they were receiving large sums of money. Some loans were traced directly to Chantel. Others were tied back to Jackie. Investigators uncovered fraudulent loan applications, fake documents, and even ghost employees. Some of the companies claimed massive financial losses in order to qualify for government relief funds. Year after year, they filed paperwork that was all smoke and mirrors, but the money kept rolling in. Once investigators connected the dots, the whole scheme began to unravel quickly. The feds moved in hard. Warrants were issued, homes were searched, and devices were seized. Suddenly, the lifestyle that Jackie and Chantel worked so hard to show off online started collapsing in real life. Federal prosecutors hit them with a long list of serious charges: tax evasion, wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy to commit financial crimes. And that was just the beginning. Court documents revealed the scope of what was happening behind closed doors. Prosecutors claimed Jackie and her daughter were running a full operation. They allegedly created fake nonprofit organizations that looked real on paper. These nonprofits didn't run events or help people in need. They were set up to launder money. Funds flowed in through fraudulent loans, stolen identities, and fake businesses. Then they were cleaned through these nonprofits and shell companies. It didn't stop there. Investigators also claimed Jackie used some of Doug Christie's old businesses as shields. These businesses acted as financial fronts, receiving large transfers, claiming false expenses, and shuffling money around until the trail became confusing.
All the slander going on with these ladies, I just wanted to take a step back and enjoy my time, focusing on what means the world to me, and that's my family.
The system was built to trick even experienced investigators, and for years it worked. But eventually, the truth caught up. And when it did, the image Jackie had worked so hard to build fell apart. The woman who had once been the loudest, boldest personality on reality TV was now reduced to a defendant in court, facing serious time behind bars. The rise and fall of Jackie Christie is a reminder that fame and wealth can't hide everything. She built her brand on being unapologetically bold, but that same energy may have blinded her to the consequences of her actions. She spent years flaunting a lifestyle that didn't add up, and now she and her daughter are paying the price for it. Instead of red carpets, they're facing prison gates. Instead of selfies with luxury bags, they'll be wearing prison-issued uniforms. The very things they chased, money, attention, and status, are now the reason everything came crashing down. And what was once seen as a powerful mother-daughter team has turned into a cautionary tale about greed, arrogance, and the dangers of building a life on lies. And just like that, it all came crashing down. Once the courtroom doors closed behind Jackie and Chantel, the reality of the situation truly started to sink in. Not just for them, but for everyone watching. What had started as whispers and suspicions ended with prison sentences, broken trust, and a public completely stunned by how far things had gone. When the guilty verdicts were announced, the silence in the room said everything. Jackie, once confident and poised, stood frozen. Her expression barely changed, but you could see it in her eyes. This was the end of the world she had built. Chantel, on the other hand, had already started breaking down long before that moment. Tears, apologies, regret, it all spilled out in front of the jury. She said she just wanted to live up to the image of her mother. She wanted to be enough. But in doing so, she made decisions that couldn't be undone. The judge didn't hold back during sentencing. His words were firm, even cold. He called Jackie a manipulator who knew exactly what she was doing and used her influence to deceive countless people. The sentence, 20 years in federal prison. For Chantel, the judge showed a bit more leniency, acknowledging her remorse and limited involvement, but she still received 12 years. It was a heavy punishment, but in the eyes of many, it was fair. As the two women were led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, there were no cameras, no dramatic music, no reality TV edits. Just the slow, quiet footsteps of two people facing the consequences of their actions. From the outside looking in, it was hard to believe this was the same Jackie Christie who had once ruled reality television, famous for her wild energy, big personality, and unshakable confidence. Now, all of that was gone. But the story didn't end there. Once the news hit the media, it spread like wildfire. Social media blew up. Headlines dominated every platform. Longtime fans, casual viewers, and even people who had never watched Basketball Wives had something to say. The internet exploded with reactions. People pulled up old video clips, old tweets, interviews, anything they could find. They began connecting dots, realizing that some of the flashy moments that once seemed harmless now felt like warning signs. One tweet read, "I thought her drama on TV was just for entertainment. I had no idea it was this deep." Another user wrote, "She talked so much about loyalty, about family, but the whole time she was out here scamming? Unbelievable. It wasn't just fans who spoke up." Victims started coming forward. People who believed in Jackie's charities or business ventures admitted they were duped. Small business owners said they were promised collaborations or sponsorships that never materialized. One elderly couple shared that they gave over $50,000 to one of Jackie's nonprofit projects after watching her speak passionately about youth outreach in a TV segment. They never saw that money again, and the betrayal? It ran deep. Many of these people weren't just strangers on the internet, they were supporters. They believed in Jackie's mission, her brand, her story. They wanted to be part of something meaningful, and instead, they were taken advantage of. One man said, "I trusted her name. I thought she was about giving back. I didn't expect to be played like this." As the wave of outrage grew, the fallout spread further than anyone could have imagined. It wasn't just Jackie and Chantel facing the heat. Doug Christie, Jackie's husband, who had always been in the background of her reality TV fame, got pulled into the spotlight. Even though he wasn't directly involved or charged with anything, the public started asking questions. His name appeared in some of the business documents under scrutiny. Sponsors began distancing themselves. He stayed silent at first, but reports later confirmed that just 4 days after Jackie's sentencing, Doug filed for legal separation. Sources say he was blindsided. He had no idea how deep it all ran. And as for Basketball Wives, the ripple effect hit hard. VH1 reportedly started pulling episodes that heavily featured Jackie. Brand deals vanished. Syndication contracts stalled. The production team didn't release an official statement, but the silence was loud. Everyone knew what was happening. Jackie Christie had once been one of the show's biggest names. Now, she was persona non grata. The empire she built over years, on TV, in business, through branding and public appearances, was reduced to ashes in just a matter of months. People started rewatching old footage not for entertainment, but for clues. That confidence, that flashiness, the expensive gifts and dramatic moments, was it all covering something darker all along? In one of the most haunting images from the entire saga, Jackie and Chantel were last seen walking out of court in matching beige prison jumpsuits, wrists cuffed, surrounded by federal marshals. No press conference. No last words. Just silence. It wasn't a movie or a season finale. It was real life. And for them, the story is far from over. It's just taking a very different path now. This whole case is a sobering reminder that fame doesn't make you untouchable. That having fans, followers, and airtime doesn't make you immune to the law. It also shows how power and ambition, if left unchecked, can twist into something dangerous. Jackie Christie went from being one of reality TV's most talked about stars to a convicted fraudster. It's a fall from grace that feels almost unreal. But the truth? It happened. And it could happen again. So now I want to hear from you. Were you surprised by how it all turned out? Did you ever think Jackie was capable of something like this? Do you think justice was served, or do you believe the sentences were too harsh, or maybe not harsh enough? And what about Chantel? Was she a victim or just another willing participant? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And if you want more deep dives into stories like this, stories that shock, surprise, and sometimes leave you speechless, make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, there's a lot more to uncover. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.